And here we go. Should have some cool music or something, but here we go anyway. 57. Said postquam, but after, in Castra, into the camp, Annuntius, messenger pervenit. So a messenger had come into camp after this happened. It looks like the news is Roma at Rome, the Coniuratione was patefactam. The conspiracy had been cut wide open or exposed. And De Lentulо, concerning Lentulо and Cathigo, and the Caterus and the rest of them, cause supra memoravi, who I've remembered or mentioned above, they had been sumptum with supplicium. Anyway, they'd all been killed. Punishment had been taken, literally. And then, pleriqui, very many of quos those who ad bellum had come to the war, spes rapinarum, with hopes of, what do you call that? Stealing lots of stuff. Rapine. Hopes of, just thievery, etc. Pillaging. And elexerat, looks like lured in with the studium, with desires or zeal of novarum rerum, which means revolution, new things, literally. They dilabantur, they all slipped away or left, deserted. The reliquos, the remainder accusative, Catiline, nominative, through the Asperos Montes, through the rough mountains, with Magnus Itineribus, this means forced marches, in most military slang. So Catiline led the rest on great marches through the rough mountains into the Agrum, into Agrum Pistoriensum, which is a town, so into the land of this place, he abducated, so he led them off there. With the plan that, eo concilio, with this plan, utai, it's just ut, so that, per tremites occulte, through tremites, these are tracks basically, occulte would mean secretly, he would perfugorate, so he could flee away into Transalpine Gaul, Galliam Transalpiniam. 2. Ad cum Metellus Cella, but, I guess that's Quintus Metellus Cella, with Tribus Legionibussus, with 3 legions, was in Agro Piceno. It's these here put into the ablative. He was in the Picene land, praesidabating, so he was in charge. And from the difficulty of the matter, ex difficult rem, from the difficulty of the matter, he was existumansing. As we see, Sallust using the U, it just means he was present participating. He was thinking, this iadem illa, this neuter, this very same thing was happening. Quae supradicamus, which we've said above, was Catiline was agitaring. Catiline was doing this or driving his men there. 3. Igator ubi. Therefore, when eos iter, when Catiline's path or his itinerary, he got to know, he cognovated, and he got to know it from the perfugus, from the deserters, people who had fled away. He moveded propere hastily or fast, here's Castra moved his camp. And sub ipsus radibus, under the roots themselves of the mountain, the Montium, he considered his Castra, he situated his camp. Qua, where, in that place where, Ili to him, the census erat, where he would descend into Gaul, so Ili and properenti, dates, properenti is the present participle, and that place where he would hastily have to be descending into Gaul. 4. Neque tamen, so tamen's nevertheless, still yet, or after all, whatever you want to say. So nevertheless, neither was Antonius aberrat procol, he was not that far away. Procol means far away, neque is the negative, aberrat is absum. So, Otpo, inasmuch as, qui, say he, with a magno exercita, with a great army, looks like in locus aequoribus, over rather flat land, with expeditos, unencumbered people, he was following into the on the heels, you might want to say, of the flight of Catiline, in his flight, in his fuga. 5. Said Catilina, But Catilinae, postquam, after he had visited, after he'd seen, with mountains and the copious hostium and the forces of the enemy, say himself was clausum, he was closed in, and in urb in the city, the res was adversa, the circumstances were against him, and neither was fuga, neither was their flight, neither was their ulim spam. As we know, ulim's used with negative things. So neither was there any hope of flight, nor of any defence or protection. And ratus, he thought that the optimum thing to do, the best thing to do, in spite of these facts, or indeed, in tali re, in such a matter, was to temptare the fortunam belli, was to test his fortune in war, or test the fates of war, and he statuted, and he decided, with Antonius, quam primum, as soon as possible, to confligurate, to have a conflict, to have a fight. Itaque, and so accordingly, he advocated a Coniuratione, he called together an assembly, and he had an oration habit, huis Quimodo, of this type, 58. 58. Compertum ego habeo. So I have this. Compertum. I've discovered, milites, that's vocative, it's talking to his soldiers, that verba, that's plural, words, non adere, do not add to or give virtutum any valor, neither from the ignavo, neither from the cowardly, is strenuum. Is there any sort of energetic or vigor? Neither do you get fortem, bravery, from the timid, from the weak. And here, what we're dealing with, neither does this happen to an army. So a cowardly army or timid army is not going to get their strength and bravery. By an oration, theory means that it's going to happen, or it's the passive of facio. So by an oration of its emperor, of its imperator, which would be the general guy calling the shots. 2. Quanta. So we've got some quantity, however much, quisque animo, of how much, what have we got, audacia, so how much boldness there is in the mind, by nature, or in es means, so it's in the mind, by nature, or by moribus, or by his character. So how much boldness of each one is in their hearts or in their souls by the nature or customs, so much, tanza, is solet, accustomed, taking the infinitive, to be paterate, to be open in war or in a fight. Him quem, whom, neither glory nor danger, pericula, excites, nequiquam. Again, in vain or with no effect, it is to hortere, to encourage this person. The timor, the fear of mind, officits their oribus, blocks their ears. Again, things that have oben, when you have an F, the B becomes another F. So these kind of things are usually meant to block. So we'll have a daily dictionary. Officio, ofeci, ofectus. Third declension, block the path of, check or impede, top 20,000 words. Okay. Said ego vos. That's the way Romans do it. They'll put ego, that's the main person, and vos, that's the accusative. So, but I, you, monoram, I'm advising you, quote, by these porca, by these few words, advocavi, I've called you together for these, so I'll advise you for these few words. And same time, ut and uti are the same, so that aperium, I'll make open the cause of my concilium, of my plan, or why they're going to have a battle. 4. Scitus, this is a quote, you know, equidem, this is the same as quidem, it's usually used in first person. So you know indeed, milites, vocative again, soldiers, the secordia, the slothfulness, and ignavia, the cowardice of Lentulus, and quantum, how much it atolerated, it brought claidem, a disaster, for ipsi himself and nobis, for himself and for us. Quo modo, it's got the qui and clitic here, but it's just quo modo, and how, dum, while from the city I was operioring praesidia, I was waiting for forces, praesidia, from the city, so nec quiverem, I was not able to profisci, to set out into Gaul, because he was waiting for these forces from the herb would be Rome. Nunc viro. So viro be a but or moreover. So, but now, quo loco, in which place, res nostra sint. Our circumstances are juxta, next to or jointly, me cum with me, omnes you all, intelligitis. You all understand now in which situation, what place our circumstances are. It's all open. An exercitus is army. We've got duo, so two armies, or fourth declension hostium. So two armies of our enemies. Unus, one from Rome, from the herb, and the other is obstanting, blocking again, obs, the block word, from Gaul, so it looks like they're caught in the middle. Duitius, it's a comparative of diu, meaning a long time, for a rather long time, or for some time, in hic locus esse. If we are to be in this place for a long time, there's C meaning if, and if we have maxime animus, if we have great courage or a great desire to stay in this place for a long time, frumenti is grain, and aliarum rerum means and other things. Egesta, so there's a poverty or a lack of grain and other things prohibit us from staying in hic locus for much longer. 7. Quo cumque, to wherever the hell it is. Placet, it's pleasing or we have decided, taking evening to go. So to wherever we decided to go. Ferro, with iron, usually means a sword. Aperiendum est, must be opened, the ita. So the pathway must be opened with swords, basically, wherever we go. 8. Qua propter. Something like, on account of this, monio vos, I advise you, so that, forti, so you be brave and have a prepared mind, which is singular. So be brave and have prepared minds, and when you inhibitus, when you go into prolem, when you go into a battle, the battle, plural again, remember, vos, you, your divities, your riches, your decus, your honour, your gloriam, and praeterea. Besides that, your libertatem, your freedom, and your patria, your homeland, is in your dexterous, in your right hands. You are portering, you're carrying all your riches, honour, glory, liberty, and your homeland in your hand. Si vincumus, if we win, if we conquer, omnia nobis, everything will be to us, tuta, everything safe, everything will be guaranteed to us. The comitus, these are the provisions for an army, abundantly, we have that in English. The municipias, the towns and the colonies, colonias, will be patabunt, they will be open. Almost done. 10. Si metu, if with fear, cessarimus, if we seed into this fear, iadem illa, to repeat what we saw earlier, these same things will be adversus. These things will be against us. So, neither a locus, neither place, nor friends, quisquam, just means will there be any friends or place to take it, to cover us or protect us, whom there's non-texturate, who doesn't cover or protect themselves with arms. So if you want all these things in the future, you don't want to be killed basically, and you want to have all these towns and provisions, etc., you're going to have to win. That's what he's saying.